Yo, my name is Harris. If you don't know me, if you do, welcome back. I ain't gonna lie, it's Part 4. It's been a minute. Been busy, started school. I'm in college if you do not know. But I'm not getting into all that. You already know what time it is. I'm probably here to just watch this in the background, go to sleep or something. So I'm finna get right to play.
And the other Bloodhounds, with these two victims, in many ways, launching Jeff into the spotlight and helping him rise to become one of the most infamous names in modern Chicago drill, as well as being one of the most ruthless shootings the west side of Chicago had ever seen. To understand the events that would take place in early 2024, we likely have to go all the way back to the early days of the young Bloodhounds. As I mentioned before, out of the three main rappers associated with the Bloodhounds, Jeff, Q50,
I don't really pause it too much, but since this is recorded so far later from when this was made, at this point in time, Vert and Q50 supposedly beefing about something, so I gotta do research on that and probably do a video on it, but if not, I still want to figure out what the situation with Vert and Q50.
Vert, it appears that Vert was likely the first to get into the streets. On his old Facebook page that's under his real name, the young Vert can be seen often hanging out on the east side with the rest of the kids and older members from Drill City and Trap City or Chris World.
How long? No, I asked you something. Go ahead. Go ahead. Huh? Okay. Here we go. Hey, who was that? Who was that? Say you want some smoke, you must be high as fuck. Follow me. Everybody good over here? Everybody good over here? Oh, you know, it's practice. These dumb ain't going. Check it out. Hold on. What that is? Oh, give me some.
But Vert had also made friends from outside his close neighborhood, with at least one of these friends being all the way out in the west side of Chicago, more specifically a hood known as The Jungle, which is located in the near west side neighborhood close to the United Center, which is home to both the Chicago Bulls NBA team and the Chicago Blackhawks NHL team. The relationship between Vert and his friend from Jungle would continue into their adult years, with Vert seemingly taking trips with the members from Jungle as recently as 2021. There's also a vlog from 2022 by YouTuber J Global Visuals, where Vert can be seen hanging out in the Jungle's hood with them.
Real stop, man. Jungle life, man. We was never known to go. Never, ever. Jungle life, man. Follow that shit, man. Turn the camera. Real live right now. I'm finna keep it. I kill us for West. GDK, same K. GDK. Whatever they say. Oh, West Side thing. What up?
The members from the Jungle, on the other hand, are known to be closely affiliated with another close-by set called BKN, also known as Nitty Block, named after a Jungle member called Frank Nitty, or Sosa Nitty, real name Frank Looney Jr., who was killed in 2019. It appears that eventually Jeff too would get close with the Jungle and BKN, with some videos still existing online showing him hanging out with them on their block. Unfortunately, as the rumor goes, the relationship between the Bloodhounds and BKN or Jungle would eventually go sour, after members of the BKN would allegedly turn on them and rob Jeff for some watches, with BKN then, according to Chiracologists, hopping on Instagram Live to gleefully show their alleged $50,000 bounty and the two guns that were used to take them.
Yeah.
How you gonna do the work, get it, go on live, and then show the weapon? Like, what? That don't make no sense.
They coming like, look, tell the op. We talking about you took the show phone.
We got like 50K down. That fake AP they got I just turned up car.
In the video, they showed off 2 stolen watches and an iced out chain. And funnily enough, one of the watches was seemingly one of those fake iced out watches designed to look like an iced out AP watch, like the one from the coffin video, with Redditors seemingly noticing that one of these watches was almost certainly an imitation AP, which was in fact an AP tribute by fashion watch company GLD, which currently retails for less than $700. And this is something that the thieves would actually point out in their video, ironically mocking the target of their robbery for having a fake AP.
Stop winning that, stop fake, stop winning that fake. Tell her I'll start winning that fake.
What's fake AP they got down there, man? Y'all ain't
Fake.
I just turned.
While the other watch was just a plain Jane Cartier Santos, which if real would be worth as little as $3,000, along with a matching chain that reads Bartier, which I guess would make sense for the Bloodhounds if they were swapping the C's with B's like old school Bloods when they were buying a chain to match the Cartier watch. But clearly, this was no 50 grand lick, and arguably such a small taking that the robbery would certainly not end up being worth the consequences that would come soon after, as despite the low value of the items taken, it would be the damage to the ego of the person the items were taken from that would escalate the situation severely. Jeff too would seemingly later open up about these events, saying that nobody took anything from him by force, but rather they ran off with them when he wasn't paying attention.
Public service announcement. On my dead grandmother's head, if I'm lying, I'm down. God could come pull me out this car right now. I never took a dollar from nothing. A nigga said, let me take a picture, this, that, and that. I look up, the nigga then ran down. We all the way at the top of the staircase first off. The nigga then ran, I look up, the nigga taking off down the stairs with 5 more extra. I'm like, damn, I thought nigga was gangster. The whole time I'm right there still working with him. I'm telling them we could keep this gangster and be gangster, and I respect it's gonna be what it's gonna be to keep this gangster. It's one gangster.
Then, on January the 20th, a Chicago-based YouTuber, Word from the Trenches, would upload a vlog where he hangs out with the BKN members in their hood, with this vlog also including a member called Monty, who also goes by the name Drench, or Czar, and who would allegedly be one of the people involved in Lil Jeff's robbery.
Who that? Drench right here.
That's another one of the guys.
He by himself, man. I don't think brother all the way on the other end, brother. On the other end, he by himself.
Drench. Hey, tell him go up, man. I need some blue sleep, man.
Hey, this hey, for the guest I got him in the Detroit. Come on, get him.
It's Drench, man.
Hey, y'all already know my name, Drench. Zah, they call me Zah. I'll smoke your dumb like some Zah. They say I don't stop smoking like some Zah.
Later, in the same vlog, BKN members can be seen hanging out inside a hallway of one of their buildings, when Monty gets a FaceTime call from none other than Lil Jeff, with the energy between the two seeming tense, as Monty begins by asking Jeff where that J at, meaning jewelry, before showing off a watch on his wrist to the camera and saying again, let me see the J's, whilst also telling Jeff that they're all right here while showing his posse, as well as someone asking either Jeff or someone else how much their watch is costing, with the main member of the vlog, rapper Puda, seemingly wholly uninterested in including Jeff in their vlog.
Shit on my big cousin show. 2 feet B-no, yeah, really the whole 4L gang. Like, I with the whole 4L. Shout out Young Nudie and my cousin too. All my folk down there in the 8. Shit going on for real.
You ain't got nobody in mind like you like industry.
He better than me. I would have, as an interviewer, I would have the camera all up in the phone. Man, that would have been viral.
Really?
Well, it did anyway, but here's the point.
Like, I ain't gonna lie, twin. Like,
Good, man. We got JL, man.
hold on, y'all. Hold on. I ain't gonna lie.
Put that J in there.
Look, only artist I really wanna with right now, probably Big 30, goddamn.
How much that is on y'all wrist right there, man?
Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Only 6 days after the release of this vlog, on Friday the 26th of January 2024, Monty and another member of BKN or Jungle called Lil Rob, real name Robert Boston, would be attending the Innovations High School located in downtown Chicago, more specifically in an area called the Loop. And then, close to 12:30 p.m, Monty and Lil Rob, together with other students, were seemingly heading out of the school, likely going on their lunch break, with one exit being next to the Washington or Warbush L train station, a very busy location, particularly during the lunch hour. Soon after exiting the school building, 2 cars would suddenly pull up with several masked shooters hopping out of the cars and opening fire towards Monty and Lil Rob. After the shooting was over, someone standing on the train platform above the street level would capture the truly disturbing scene of the last moments of the 2 young boys who had been shot, whilst their friends and members of the public crowd around them in sheer shock, with some attempting to do what little they could to try and save their lives. Unfortunately, there was nothing to be done, and both Monty and Lil Rob were later pronounced dead in the Northwestern Memorial Hospital, while a third, unrelated victim would be grazed in her jacket, the bully fortunately missing her body. Not long after the shooting, the area would be bustling with local media who would interview witnesses that had seen or heard the shooting, including the woman who had just nearly missed getting shot herself.
Went through my arm, but
during that shooting, Berenice Vargas says she was grazed with one of the bullets.
I heard like 4 shots. That was all super anxious and sad, and I was afraid that it hit me too by accident.
Another witness would describe the shots being let off, sounding like a firecracker, perhaps meaning that at least one of the shooters was using a switch on their pistol.
Like a firecracker, like something like a firecracker, like a 10-15 shot. Boom, 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 boom.
Local shopkeeper Mohammed Ashik describes diving for cover as bullets were flying, witnessing the aftermath, an emotional scene unfolding right in front of him.
Everybody looking right and left, over there has people crying, kids crying,
All of this happening near Innovations High School, where the 2 boys were students. Crisis responder Andrew Holmes speaking with the boys' families Friday night.
The 16-year-old just had a smile, that he kept a smile. The 17-year-old, he was just trying to work hard to just go into the trade business.
Holmes furious, like many other community members, about the brazen events that unfolded. He says one of those boys would be celebrating a birthday in just weeks.
You have no right to take another person's life like that. And this is a brutal way. This is cold-blooded murder.
Mayor Brandon Johnson responding to the shooting, writing, quote, "My deepest condolences to their families and the Innovations High School community as they grapple with unimaginable pain and trauma caused by this senseless act of violence."
In the aftermath, even the mayor of Chicago would comment on the senselessness of this attack, and the situation was so serious that it would actually be covered citywide on numerous Chicago news reports, including ABC 7 Chicago.
As 2 families and a community mourn the slaying of the teens, Chicago police continue their search for the gunman responsible for the brazen downtown daylight ambush that claimed the boys' lives. It appears to be business as usual just a day after 2 teens are gunned down in front of their downtown high school. Many of the bullet-riddled windows have been boarded up following the slaying of 16-year-old Robert Boston and 17-year-old Monterio Williams. Friends say the boys knew each other, and so did their families. Investigators say both teens were shot and killed Friday afternoon near Wabash and Washington Streets as they left school with a group of friends. The teens were students at CPS Charter School Innovations High School. That's when witnesses say a dark-colored car and a dark-colored SUV pulled up and masked gunmen got out and opened fire. Authorities say while some of the attackers got away in the vehicles, at least 2 of them ran away. The wounded students were rushed to an area hospital where they both were pronounced dead. Investigators call the attack isolated and are combing through security camera video from the area. So far, no one is in custody and no arrests have been made. Police are asking anyone with any information to contact Area 3 police detectives.
Already on the night of the 26th, the police would also give a press briefing on the investigation so far, showing that the CPD was likely taking this case much more seriously than an average South or West Side shooting due to the extremely central location of this double murder.
First of all, I'd like to start out by offering our condolences on behalf of Superintendent Snelling and the Chicago Police Department to the 2 families that were touched by this senseless act of violence today. Approximately 12:25 today, several students were exiting the Innovations High School when 2 cars pulled up and a group of individuals
like high school though, come on. But at the same time, if they jumped off the porch and did what they did and decided to make that choice for themselves, and they understood what they was getting themselves into at that moment in life, it is what it is. I'm not justifying it, but at the same time, it's just how it go. There's nothing else to it. But damn. Coming out of school.
Exited said vehicles, fired multiple times, striking 2 of the teenage students of Innovations High School. These individuals were taken to Northwestern Hospital where they succumbed to their injuries. So we'd like to actually say again that our thoughts and prayers are with the families of these 2 students. We're asking the public, it's very early in investigation, but if anybody has any information, we'd ask them to call Area 3 Detective Division at 312-744-8261. Can also be reached in email at tipcpd.com. At this time, it appears that a group of approximately 6 students were exiting, and there's no confrontation. Like I said, several individuals exited 2 vehicles, approached the group, and fired multiple times. At this time, it's still very early in the investigation. It's just several individuals exited those vehicles where the gunfire erupted. There was an individual, a woman that was walking by. Her jacket was grazed. No medical treatment was sought, and she's talking with the area detectives right now. She was not a student, no.
And these teams are Innovation High School, or were Innovation High School?
Yes.
What
you tell us about their ages?
17 years old and 16. At this time, we believe it to be an isolated incident. You know, wherever the tragedy like this strikes in the city, it's heartbreaking for the families and everybody affected by it. It's a tragedy no matter where it happens. But down here, as the students were exiting, we believe it's, like I said, an isolated incident, and that there's no danger in the area continuing. We believe one to be a dark-colored sedan and an SUV. At this time, no one's in custody at this time.
Astonishingly, despite this seemingly being a targeted Hitman-style execution taking place in one of the most central locations in Chicago in broad daylight, there would seemingly not be any possible suspects in the aftermath of the shooting. But there would certainly be a whole lot of dissing going on, particularly towards Monty, with members of the Bloodhounds also taking part in this on social media. And it seems that in the week following the shooting, there may have been some get-back shootings happening too, because in early February, Jeff would post on his Instagram how his ops had lost their mind and were killing innocent people. Jeff would also seemingly get a new tattoo around this time of 10 teardrops falling down his neck, the message being that he had now officially updated his body count to 10 murders. But perhaps most notably, 2 of these teardrops appeared to be connected to each other, with many people believing that these 2 connected teardrops actually referenced Lil Rob and Monty's murders. Meanwhile, BKN were also seemingly dissing Jeff with a rapper called Get Back Dot, dropping a music video for his song Lost My Mind, also in the beginning of February, where 2 watches are shown together with the song title, these watches being clearly different from the earlier video, supposedly showing BKN members flexing Jeff's watches, yet seemingly very similar to the other 2 watches that Jeff had displayed on his second Instagram, with this suggesting to me that he hadn't got the watches back, but had at the very least upgraded or kept a much better pair of watches. However, the next move from Jeff would be the motherlode of apparent self-snitching that would end up arguably changing his whole career trajectory, as on the 16th of February 2024, exactly 3 weeks after the shooting that claimed the lives of Monty and Lil Rob, Jeff would release his biggest song to date, a track titled Ah, together with a music video that now has almost 2 million views. The video begins with the Bloodhounds showing off their full gun arsenal, before Jeff begins his verse, starting by saying how he's toting a 10 milli and that his gun has some recoil, before saying then people did what they did and therefore had to pay the consequences. He then proceeds to explain how he still hops out of the car when he's doing hits and also drives the car because he's so thirsty to catch his ops, before saying that you would think he's lying if he told you about all the things he did in the streets. But Jeff was only getting warmed up, because he then proceeds to state that when he speaks it's only facts and that his supposed victim was screaming ah when he got hit, and how this person had been acting tough online but was now laying on the floor. This was another jaw-dropping lyric when you consider the fact that in the footage of Lil Rob and Monty after they've been shot lying on the floor, you can actually hear one of them screaming, ah. Jeff then puts the icing on the cake by rapping how he just walked into the Lid store to buy 2 hats, a hat, of course, being slang for catching a body and murdering someone, going on to say that he's really stepping in blood, which would eventually become the name of his posthumous debut album, before explaining how his victims didn't get a chance to run, so can't say that he tripped, and that Jeff and his buddies hopped out with 4 guns and 2 people got hit. Jeff then further continues by saying that he has lost his Draco, so he's going to have to use a switch on his pistol, and that before they were his ops, they were his fans. And the verse just keeps on going, with Jeff then rapping how somebody's best friend died and he wishes that he was dead with him, but it won't take too long until he's also dead, because Jeff is a madman who can't stop chasing and killing his ops, before explaining that they got the drop on their ops and spin the block, which would indeed seemingly be the only way that an attack like the one pulled off on Monty and Lil Rob could even be pulled off. Jeff would say that his favorite ops got killed, and he then appears to forget for a moment that he was in the middle of a confession, or perhaps he simply begins to reminisce about his earlier crimes, as he then lays down some bars about taking cops on high-speed chases and how he refused to fight and will just kill you. He explains how he loves robbing people for their jewelry, particularly watches, as well as being so thirsty that he might even take your socks off your feet, as well as saying that he'll pull up on the side of your car and kill you right there. Jeff then continues saying how he's the top op and known for putting his victims on Fox News, with the local Fox 32 Chicago channel also being one of the first news outlets that reported on the killing of Monty and Lil Rob.
We began with breaking news. 2 high school students killed in a Chicago Loop shooting.
Jeff then finally ends the song by saying that he is indeed everything that they say he is, a slimy guy who will walk you down before killing you, before shouting out Q50 and sending a stern message to all his ops that they better watch their mouths when talking about Jeff. But of course, Jeff was only getting started with the dissing with this song, and he would soon continue disrespecting his ops on social media, where even Shoebox Baby from O Block would comment on his live questioning how come Jeff suddenly has so many views, asking him if he's a rapper now, while Jeff would rap lyrics from his Ah song before noticing that a BKN member was commenting how Jeff was going to die, with Jeff then dissing BKN, saying how sending threats had gotten Sav killed, this being a possible reference to a 17-year-old boy from Jungle's neighborhood called Ray Sav, real name Raekwon Williams. He was killed in 2016 and had seemingly been even close to Vert in the past, as well as saying that sending threats had also got Lil Rob killed, the implication likely being that Lil Rob had died due to Monty's actions.
Before they was acting, he said, Sav, you gonna die. And that's why Sav ass did that, because y'all ass sending threats, and that get your mans. You said threats like that, and then your homie go get up. Now you gonna merge it on him next. The ass on Dre, the ass on Lil Rob, you know what I'm saying? The ass on all these new ass.
Jeff would also then begin to diss a young alleged BKN member called Baby Do It, real name Kadoni Smith Jr., who was found shot to death inside of a burning car in December 2023 at only 15 years old, with this murder allegedly being a get-back for Monty killing two equally young boys from a rival set.
They put y'all shorty in the trunk and set his ass on fire. Y'all lucky I ain't that man. I ain't got pissed out like that jet. They burnt this to hell. They said this quick. Boy, I let better go play somewhere for us.
Still in February, Jeff would also post a picture of himself smoking on 2 blunts at 2:20 p.m. with the Chiracologists, who are now beginning to turn into full-blown little Jeffologists, commenting why couldn't he wait until that time was 2:22 p.m. to make the message even more obvious, with everybody now seemingly involved in this inside joke that Jeff was sharing about allegedly killing 2 high school students. Jeff's apparent self-snitching about the case would only become more brazen as time went on, and in April, he would once again do what appeared to be either a semi-confession or alternatively an example of Jeff reaching a level of trolling as promotion that resembled a true work of art, as Jeff's music was now beginning to reach some noticeable popularity, not least due to the rumors of him being behind this brazen double murder.
All kids, they down. I'm done giving kids passes. It's a wrap. You know that if I get mad enough, the will start happening. Y'all know this by now. I went black for like a week and poof, gotta go. After that one, poof, I came back, poof. Don't let them go.
In April, he would make the now infamous Instagram post of him holding a picture of 2 hats with the description supposedly symbolizing each of his victims with a different emoji, with the last 2 emojis being those of a graduation cap, another rather obvious reference to the fact that Monty and Lil Rob were killed while leaving their high school. Also, seemingly around this time, Jeff would post a cryptic story on IG of his phone screen with the date 13th of January, which would have been almost exactly 2 weeks before the murders of Monty and Lil Rob. In the story, Jeff says that he never wants to feel like he felt that day, and that after whatever happened that day, he made a promise to himself never to forget, and that it's been 4 months since he stood on business, plus then some. Vert too was seemingly participating in the dissing, releasing a song and music video titled Out West, with Vert of course seemingly having a long and personal connection with the West Side sets Jungle and BKN that had now come to an end, just like his long affiliation with Trap City had come to a close the previous year. In the song, Vert raps how he's not too cocky to ask his friends for help before seemingly dissing Jungle and BKN for trying to beef with him whilst their homies had been killed, and specifying how he had been just chilling and kicking back when hearing who had gotten killed, this perhaps being a reference to Monty. Vert dedicating an entire song to allegedly dissing his old friends from the West Side seems to point to his involvement in whatever took place between the Bloodhounds and BKN, which is also something that members from Trap City, including his former friend Tiro, would later indicate during his vlog with X-Man Rico.
And the reason I was saying that too though, because some things unforgivable. But like one thing I wanted to ask you, because bro said this happened over a chain. People was reaching out trying to have me do a story, tell me about Bert got robbed and something like that, and that's how the beef started.
You got robbed by who?
I don't know who did it, but they say Bert got robbed and shot.
Nah, he ain't talking about that. He talking about what Bert.
Oh, out west?
He did get poked?
I don't know. I heard
They got something happened to him.
Yeah, I heard some shorty and them took their ass.
I was locked up, folks, so I was just saying to the county.
Yeah, I was in the county.
They got robbed and I
Tino,
through the grapevine.
what you doing?
Shorty them got back. Shorty them got back.
For sure.
In between the dissing, Jeff was also increasingly boasting about his other favourite hobby together with Q50, this hobby of course being allegedly robbing people for their jewellery, particularly watches, with this boasting almost seemingly also getting mixed in with slick disses towards BKN. Jeff and Q50 would even proudly show their bounties during Instagram lives, even showing pictures of their alleged victim, a man called 6300 Bredo, and their bloody hands wearing the stolen watches.
I'll show y'all who got it. Man. One him, but it was just another. I'm gonna show y'all. Look, first he had on. It's him right here. Ooh, that's 1500. He ain't had none. What a first of that. Man, we rolling this. Show that dick. We got an AP already, Stone. I'm having a way in Chicago, Illinois. Now we got another road.
Hey man, get them people that shit back. Like
they shouldn't have been trying to kick it down the line of green. That's it, $10. It cost him his whole hustle career. Everything he worked hard for, it cost lost all $10.
Hey, look, y'all. You said take this picture.
I was about now. Oh, weeds. I got blood on them diamonds and I still wore it.
This part
I
of
was
my
never
tattoo.
say they don't know if that's a tattoo or a ring.
Nah, they ain't no.
The Bloodhound feel like they the only ones existing, right? You might as well. You know, I don't know other but the guy.
This alleged watch incident with Bredo would allegedly even lead to something way more serious, as not long after, a member called Slide from his TMC set would allegedly get shot in the head, his exact condition after this alleged shooting remaining a mystery, while Jeff and Q50 would once again hop on social media to mercilessly troll their ops, even saying that Jeff's 11th body was now pending.
On my dead grandmother's head, is somewhere on the left bed, down, if not dead, down, this phone. Shit got in his brain. Got hurt. He can't even talk to y'all. He can't even tell you how he feel right now. He don't even know. He's supposed to be 11 right now, but I'm 10.
In one ominous live, Jeff would also say how they weren't expecting him to make it to 2024, but that he's made it with a new watch on his wrist, before once again saying how he's up 10 bodies.
They said I wasn't supposed to make it to New Year's. I done made it to a new year with a new watch. These hate me. I done made it to a new year with an AP. I love the new year. I'm so happy I made it. I done made it, yeah. Let me make it, now I'm icy. They can't take it. I'm up 10, I need some more. Play that real quick.
In this same live, Jeff would also tell how he's taking his fans to killing school, but all the applicants need to have at least 2 bodies under their belts, mentioning how he's putting this limit in place as a tradition, which seems to be yet another reference to Monty and Lil Rob, as well as referring to the infamous King Von lyric where he says that you're not a true killer unless you've got 2 bodies.
I'm taking this to killing school. Class start next week. You gotta at least have 2 bodies though, for I ain't coming with no, you ain't got shit. I can't work with no beginners, folks. You gotta at least have a 2. I'm gonna give y'all 2 minimum. I'm gonna start at 2 minimum, cause y'all know why I'm gonna start at 2 minimum. Now I'm just doing it for a tradition. I'm gonna start at 2 minimum, man. 2, you gotta have a minimum of 2. No, anything, you gotta have 2. You gotta have a minimum of 2 of them to come to school. You just gonna sit your dumb ass in this seat and whatever I say, do it. If you do anything scary, I'm smoking yo. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm gonna have to though, cause now like I just thought you was ready and you laughed. Now I gotta kill you. I thought you over there in the lake. I'm about to water.
Jeff was clearly feeling himself, and he would also seemingly start and intensify beefs with numerous other people and sets.
800, a snake, OTV, a whole low end. Nah. Yeah. Hey, shorty, Mike, y'all, that's different. Yeah. You niggas, Chicago, matter of fact, the city. Oh, y'all too, watching me. Bam too, fuck Slide too. Oh.
One of these being another popular Chicago rapper, YFG Fatso, who Jeff would often diss on social media.
Fatso, he ain't no shit. That little boy better play his part, you know that?
This would seemingly even lead to a false rumor in April that Jeff had been killed, which Fatso would allegedly help spread, with the drill expert Squid Ape then making a post on his Instagram debunking these rumors. But anyway, things had also been happening in the streets closer to home, as in March 2024, a well-respected Trap City OG called Lil D, real name Delegance Crawl, had been killed following an argument during an insane shootout where Lil D was also able to shoot his killer, before another man would take his gun and chase his killer down and shoot him some more. Despite Trap City and Drill City and the Bloodhound still being in deadly beef, both Jeff and Vert would pay their respects to Lil D on social media, showing how mixed up the friendships, alliances and rivalries had gotten at this point between these two factions. A few months later, another tragedy would strike when another OG, 36-year-old man named Tyrone McClinton, would lose his life. Better known in the streets as TY, Ty, or G-Ty, he was allegedly from the infamous set NLMB that are closely affiliated with Drill City, with some even theorizing whether the hit on Monty and Lil Rob had been done by the Bloodhounds together with the younger members from NLMB who go by the name Shorty Mob. Ty would be killed in Drill City's hood as he and 2 other men were approached by 4 suspects who would open fire, injuring the 2 other men whilst killing Ty. Someone would even allegedly post a security camera footage of the shooting, showing shooters surprising Ty and others from behind the corner. The location where the shooting happened is at the very heart of Drill City's hood, on the intersection of 79th Street and Cottage Grove. This location, particularly a liquor store there called Happy, being known as a particularly dangerous location, and following Ty's death, that liquor store would be closed for good. According to some Chiracologists, psychologists, the shooting that would lead to Ty's death would in fact be about the beef between Drill City and BKN, with some even claiming that the shooters were actually out there looking for Jeff himself. But as of right now, the case remains open, and there is seemingly very little to go off to verify any of these claims. Meanwhile, Jeff's career was now truly taking off, and he was grabbing the attention of many local YouTubers, with On a Couch TV being the first to drop an interview with Jeff and the Bloodhounds on the 8th of May, the interview being filmed at the Grand Crossing Park in Drill City's hood. And this interview would include numerous quotables, including On a Couch asking about some watches having gone missing, to which the Bloodhounds reply by saying that they have no idea about any watches, whilst Q50 adds that Jeff doesn't even like watches.
They definitely wanted me to ask you, like, do y'all be safe out here? It was some situation they wanted me to ask about, like with some watches or something came up missing. About who? Like somebody or something watching something from over here probably got took or something.
The conversation then turns to the money with Jeff Q50, showing off their Disney tattoos for Q50 starts trading clap and describing.
I've seen this clip before. Bro, if you look, bro, it was like making it seem like Vert stink, or he was stinking, bro. 2146. They tried to make it
779th Street on Cottage Grove. This location, particularly a liquor store there called Happy, being known as a particularly dangerous location, following Ty's death, that liquor store would be closed for good. According to some Chiracologists, the shooting that would lead to Ty's death would in fact be about the beef between Drill City and BKN, and some even claiming that
he was playing Valorant earlier, huh?